Hi.
Hello, how are you doing?
I'm so good. I'm so good. I'm so excited to have this chat with you. Thank you so much for asking
Same.
me.
So it's a little bit of selfish reasons as well because I'm so excited about this topic. So it's perfect. How
Love
have you
it.
been?
I've been really well. The kids have just finished school, so it feels like a bit of a first day of holidays. Okay, cool. We can kind of get into our summer holiday vibes now. So that feels nice. It always feels nice to kind of wrap up a busy year.
Absolutely.
So yeah, I'm kind of winding down work a little bit so I can spend some time with the kids. But yeah, had a really amazing week, amazing year. So yeah, excited to kind of celebrate the end of the year.
Awesome. And yeah, it obviously has been a really big year as well because you shifted from like one big business to another big business,
Yes.
which is super scary and super exciting at the same time. So
Yeah.
how is everything going from your side?
It's amazing. And I think the reason that it is amazing is because it was, 150% the right decision for me to make. And once I'd made that initial decision and once I kind of really realized what was happening kind of in my life and with the way that my career was going, when I had those kind of realizations that it wasn't quite where I wanted it to go, it was very easy for me to kind of go, okay, cool. I need to make this change. And then everything happened very quickly because it was aligned and it did feel good. And I had heaps of energy to do it. And it was, so it's all kind of perfectly aligned and all happened reasonably seamlessly. It wasn't, I wouldn't say it's the easiest thing I've ever done, but it felt good at the beginning. It felt good in the middle and it still feels good now.
Awesome. Before we dive into that one, would you mind just to introduce yourself a little bit of everything that you want to share?
Absolutely. So I'm Cat. I live in Perth. I have 2 children, school-age children. I'm married. And until last year, my career was marketing, specifically digital marketing. And I'd been kind of working in digital for 14 years and kind of 20 years in marketing overall. And last year, I made the very kind of big decision to completely pivot my business into human design. And I'd only discovered human design the previous year, around August, I think it was. And I kind of discovered human design and it slowly kind of started to take hold and I had readings done and I was like, whoa, I had my mind blown. All of those kind of exciting things started to kind of, all the pennies started to drop and I was like, wow, okay, this is a really interesting system. It's a very interesting tool. And I started looking at ways that I could start to work with it and learn more about it. And at that stage, I didn't really have the inkling that I was going to completely kind of change my business, change my life, basically. But I kind of jumped kind of feet first into a certification program. I kind of went through that process last year, became certified. And from November of last year, I started kind of officially in my human design business. So it's been just over a year that I've kind of been working full time in that business. And now I get to kind of combine everything that I know about having a small business, owning a small business and the marketing side of things with, I guess, more energetics, alignment and helping clients kind of really get to that stage where they do feel like they have a business that works with them and for them and that they can experience a little bit more kind of ease and flow in their world because they have a business that suits their energetics and suits their energetic capacity.
Awesome. So big question, what is human design? Because I've heard like podcasts, it's such a big buzzword currently. And it's for me so hard to grasp because it's so big as a topic.
Yes.
So what is it?
So human design is a system that really meets at the intersection of science and spirituality. And it's a system that combines kind of the ancient observational systems like astrology, the Kabbalah tree of life, the chakra system, and the Chinese I Ching. So systems that have been around for thousands of years and kind of used throughout history, and combines it more with more kind of Western scientific principles like biochemistry, neuroscience, and quantum physics. And essentially, your human design is your unique energetic blueprint. It's a snapshot of who you were designed to be. What you came here to do and how you best kind of operate in the world. And many people kind of compare it to, or, you know, use the analogy of, you know, profiling, personality profiling, like the Enneagram or Myers-Briggs, things that many of us have done in workplaces or just in general, because we're kind of curious, like, who am I? Like, I like, you know, you like to put a bit of a label on yourself, and you're like, oh, what Enneagram am I? And, you know, how do I, you know, what's my disc profiling and things like that. But where the difference really comes in is with those profiling tools, you are typically answering multiple choice questions. Sometimes it's quite a lot of multiple choice questions. And many of the times that you're kind of in that testing environment, you are doing it for performance. So you are, you know, doing it as part of an interview process to get, you know, a lot of large corporations will use psychometric testing and profiling to make sure that you're the right fit for them and things like that. So there's a lot riding on, you know, having the right answers. Or you're doing it, you know, as part of a team building exercise, or, you know, you're already in a job and you're wanting to really kind of understand, you know, who's making up the team. So under those circumstances, there's always this element of your mind wanting to keep you safe, do the right answers, do the answers that are the most acceptable or that are going to be seen in the most, I guess, positive light. And yeah, exactly. And because human design takes, obviously that it's based on the time, date, and location of your birth, there is no questions to ask, you know, to answer. There's no opportunity for your kind of subconscious mind to get really involved and try and, you know, pick the correct answer. It really is that, yeah, that blueprint to, you know, what it is, your most pure and authentic self, essentially.
Okay, but that was a very good way to like answer all of that, because I've never heard like such a good, concise answer. But what does it mean? Because, like, for example, me, I like change so much over the years. Probably you've done it as well. So it's like,
yeah.
How can a human design change or predict what aligns with us in a certain stage of our life, if we don't have to answer questions or anything like that?
Absolutely. So the foundational elements of your human design are going to give you, I guess, the building blocks of how you're designed to kind of interact with the people around you, the energy that you kind of give off, the way that you're designed to make decisions as well. And so, well, all of us experience conditioning in our lives when we are, you know, particularly in our early childhood, through our parents, you know, through our upbringing. There is, you know, a lot of conditioning and a lot of shoulds that get put on us from a very early age. And we are, you know, God love our parents, but, you know, they were conditioned. So a lot of conditioning comes down through the generations. And quite often we can find ourselves in a situation where we have, you know, been the good girl or just kind of followed the instructions we were given from, you know, from early childhood. And then we kind of end up, you know, when we are in our careers or we are in our later years, and feeling kind of this like discontentment, or feeling like, you know, there's something else for me. I don't understand why I'm not feeling kind of satisfied by having a successful job and working 9 to 5. That was what everyone told me that I had to do, or I had to go to uni. You go to school, you go to uni, you get a degree, and then you go and work for someone. And I think, particularly for my generation, that was very much the well-trodden path. But for the younger generations that are coming through, entrepreneurialism is, you know, such more. It's a very accepted thing to do these days. Like, you know, to start your business, even whilst you're still in high school, is not abnormal, and it's very easy. There are very few barriers to getting online, having business, and making a go of it. But I think for some of the older generations, it was very much not the done thing to buck the system. And the world that we live in is very much geared to really support specific energetic types in human design. So generator types. So anyone who has like a defined sacral, they've got a lot of life force energy. They've got a lot of energy to get stuff done. But they're really designed to only do the things that they love doing. And there's a lot of people who are working in jobs that they don't love, and they feel trapped, and then they feel like there's something wrong with them because everybody else loves working in you know, 9 to 5. Why don't I like it? You know, so it can shine a light on some of the things that you've always known about yourself. It can help you give some language to some of the you know, the patterns of behavior that you might have had that have been well established for you, but it gives you that kind of permission slip to really be who it is that you're designed to be, and to make changes that, you know, enable you to be a little bit more in alignment with that design that you were born with. Okay. So in terms of, I guess, working and kind of energy types and things like that, some people are simply not designed to work a 9 to 5. They just don't have the energetic capacity. But because, you know, 9 to 5 is, you know, from high school onwards, it's kind of like, oh, well, that's what most people do. That means that I should do it. Most people kind of try and force themselves into that situation. And if they're not designed to have that lasting stamina and to have that energy to keep up with a traditional 9 to 5 job, which is incredibly demanding, and the further up the ranks you go, it gets even more demanding. They're just not designed to kind of sustain that. And what can happen is people get burnt out very, very quickly, but they don't recognize that, and they just keep pushing and thinking that, okay, I'll just have another coffee. I'll just keep going and going and going until they reach a point where they are very unwell. And, you know, things have really started to kind of get quite serious in terms of health, adrenal fatigue, burnout, all of that kind of stuff. So it really helps you understand, you know, what kind of, like, if you are working in a business, are you designed to kind of work in that kind of more 9 to 5 structure? Or if you have your own business, what kind of business model is going to suit you best? Are you designed to have more support, less support? That really kind of matches the energetic capacity that you actually have.
Okay. Does it also, like, so when people are coming to you and want to obviously find out more about human design, is it more like, cool, give me your birthday and where you've born, you've been, like, where is your born birthplace, and then from there you just look into the map and it's very specifically to that person? Can it be like, if someone is born at the exact same time, exact same place, do they have the same blueprint, or how does it work then?
Typically with identical twins, that's where you're going to get the most similar chart. But then again, you have people, even though identical twins are, you know, most of the time they are raised in exactly the same environment, there are elements that are going to be different for each of them. And typically people with an identical chart like that and identical twins are going to essentially have the same kind of blueprint, but how they live that out may differ. They're not going to have exactly the same kind of karmic destiny, but, you know, it will be very, very similar. What happens is 88 days before we are born, so whilst we're still in our mother's womb, we are imprinted with our unconscious energy. And there are 13 different kind of planetary influences that come into the energy that we are then kind of imprinted with. So there's that first imprint prior to birth, and then at the time of our birth, we're imprinted with our conscious energy. And then together, that's what makes that map. So you can go and look up your human design chart. You don't need to have a reading to get a free chart. So you can go to myhumandesign.com. Is a really good one that gives a really good basic level of information about your chart, and will kind of get you going. The other platform that I use is called geneticmatrix.com, and both of those systems will give you a free chart. It's going to spit out a fairly complex map of your body, but it will give you some you know, a list of your energy type, your authority. So your authority is how you're designed to make decisions, because our minds are not designed to make decisions that are aligned to where our soul is truly trying to guide us. And so many of us, particularly in business, are making decisions from our mind. We don't trust the signals that we get from our body. We don't trust our gut. We don't trust our intuition. We're very much, a lot of the time, in our masculine. So we're kind of not even allowing ourselves to rest, to recuperate. You know, regardless of energy type, we all need rest to perform well. It's that meme that goes around, particularly at this time of the year. Everything will work again if you unplug it and then plug it back in. So, you know, taking time to rest is so essential just for health. And I think at the moment we are in a phase where, especially in business, people are really embracing a different way of looking at business, understanding that there is more than just the way that we have been taught and the way that many people have been successful so far. Yes, there's a lot to take and a lot to learn from from, you know, so many of the entrepreneurial kind of gurus and people that we look to and we look up to. But when you understand your human design, you can look at what someone else is doing and you can understand their strategies, but then you can take that and adapt it so that it does work for you and so that it does feel good and aligned for you, instead of just kind of forcing yourself to do something that doesn't feel good. And when it doesn't feel good, it's never going to work the way that you want it to, because, you know, people kind of get if you're not faking it, but that, you know, if you're really trying to force yourself to do something that's really, you're like, I just feel really uncomfortable on live video, or I feel really uncomfortable on TikTok, but everyone's saying I've got to be on TikTok. No, you don't. Yeah. You know, you need to find the things that feel really good to you in your business.
Yeah, absolutely. And Holly, who just joined before as well, is like my trauma mindset coach. She's amazing. She works a lot with energy as well. And we were talking about like the feminine and masculine energy just a few days before, because I have really hard time to surrender and letting go of the control side of things, which I really need to. And I'm just like, that's something I'm definitely working through as well. And just like, as you mentioned before, we're growing up with that doing, and I have those big goals. I need to just like stay up until midnight and just do it and just suck it up. And
and you're not being productive, or you're not worthy unless you are, you know, hustling, making the goals happen, and just, you know, go. And it's, it can be really challenging to unlearn all of that stuff. What human design type are you, Eva?
I have no idea.
You haven't done it yet? Okay, cool.
No, but like there's
we'll have to do a part 2.
But like I'm catching up with Holly as well next week to work more on like the feminine side of things and just like being more surrendering. And so like, thanks Holly, by the way. And
and to Holly's comment just there, too much masculinity for women depletes them 100%. And I remember a couple of years ago I read that book, The 5 a.m. Club, and I was like, oh my God, this sounds amazing. I'm gonna start this 5 a.m. thing. I'm gonna have this routine, this daily thing. And I'm not designed to do that. And women in general are really not designed to have a daily routine that is very structured and rigid, and you must, you know, you do the same things over and over again. Because we are women, we work on a monthly cycle. We have, you know, phases during our cycle where, you know, we're just not designed to have that, you know, those types of books and those types of kind of, this is the daily routine that's going to give you XYZ success. It typically designed by men for men, and it suits men, but it really does not fit for many women. And I think for a lot of us, we try it and then it doesn't stick, and then we're like, oh, there's something wrong with me. There's nothing wrong with me. Now I understand my design. I understand why it doesn't work for me, and I understand why planning, you know, having a 5-year plan is never going to work for me. And I can kind of surrender to that and give myself the permission to go, it's fine. I don't need to have it all worked out right now, because I, as a manifesting generator, I'm designed to respond as I go. I'm designed to respond to requests like you sent me to be on this live. I was like, it was a hell yes. I was like, cool, I'd love to do that. But if it was something else that I'd received and I was like, no, I'm designed to say no to that and then wait for the right opportunity to kind of come past. Understanding how you're designed to kind of really interact with the world around you, particularly in business, is so important, because only 9% of the population are designed to initiate and go out there and make stuff happen. The rest of us are waiting in some capacity to take action. And that is really one of the biggest things for people, especially in business, because from the get-go, we are taught, go out there, hustle, make it happen, push. And for so many of us, like over 90%, it's just not the right strategy and the right approach.
Yeah, definitely. I love the comment as well that just Holly put in, that we shouldn't be working more than 17 hours a week. Well, let's see how we go with that. But like,
I love that. I'm so down for that.
So when someone is coming to you, which I will definitely come to you at some stage. So how does it work in terms of like, obviously you find out all those information, and how does it work then from there? Do you just put together a list of like recommendations of like how you should change your life to be happy and aligned, or how does it work then to actually feel aligned?
So typically, one of the first steps that someone will take when they come to work with me is getting a reading done, which gives you, depending on the type of reading that you choose, it will give you, a PDF report to come back to. If you choose to have a video reading, it'll give you like a video to go through as well. But essentially, it will give you you know, information about different aspects of your chart so that you can start to understand how you're designed to operate. And then for many people, it's about identifying, okay, this is where I'm at and this is where I kind of want to get to. Understanding your human design and working with your human design is very much an experiment. And it's something that only you will ever know exactly how it feels in your body. Yes, you can learn from someone like me. You can have readings from, you know, many different people, and they will help you to kind of decode it and to understand it. And what does it all mean? Like, what are all these different elements? And there are so many elements that you can kind of get into. But it's very helpful to kind of take it slowly and get the foundations down. So when I talk about foundations, I mean understanding your energy type, understanding what we call your strategy, which is how that energy type is designed to kind of interact with the world around it, and the type of aura that you have, and then really understanding the key signals that your body gives you when you're in alignment and out of alignment. So for me as a manifesting generator, my signals are when I'm in alignment, I feel peace and satisfaction, and when I'm out of alignment, I feel anger and frustration. So anytime anger and frustration, particularly, they're the red flags. Anytime that pops up for me, I'm like, okay, cool. Where am I kind of not in alignment? How have I kind of gotten to this point? And it's not about never ever feeling those feelings ever again, because that's next to impossible. But it's about identifying it, being aware of it, and how can I shift to be feeling more peaceful, feeling more satisfaction. So having that awareness is absolutely key. And then, you know, the next major kind of thing to really understand is that decision making. So how are you designed to make your decisions? And, you know, 50% of the population have what we call an emotional authority. That means they need time and space to make their decisions. They're not designed to go with what their gut is telling them. They need time and space. So for 50% of the population, when they hear go with your gut, they're like, oh, okay, but actually that's not correct for them. So they need time, they need space, they need to not be influenced by other people. Someone who has a design similar to me, I am designed to follow my gut. My gut will tell me whether I'm excited about something or not. So again, in the example of you landing in my DMs and saying, hey, let's jump on a live, I was like, hell yes, I'm doing it. But if it was a no, I would have, you know, I would have known. Like it would have been a sense of excitement or a sense of kind of dread, or your stomach kind of drops a bit and you're like, oh, not into that. And I know in the moment. And because I have what we call a sacral authority, I can trust my gut. I can use my gut. Some people will be using their intuition. So again, intuition is something that, you know, is becoming a little bit more mainstream, and we're kind of becoming a little bit more used to hearing the term and using it in our business, and really trusting our intuition. Intuition has always been there. It's kept us safe for, you know, millions of years. Is that really primal instinct to know, is this healthy for me? Can I eat this? Am I going to die if I eat this berry? Or am I just going to die if I go down that dead end street? You know, that ability to keep yourself safe, but also that kind of quiet inner knowing that tells you, I can't quite explain it, but this is correct for me. So really understanding how you're designed to make decisions, particularly in business, is a game changer, because if you're not in your body and you're too much in your head, you can very much get kind of carried away and find yourself kind of going down a path and you're like, actually, this doesn't feel good at all. It doesn't feel aligned. And yeah, it doesn't mean that you can't ever kind of get back into, you know, get back on track. But so many of us don't really understand all of the signals that our body's really trying to tell us and kind of yelling at us and screaming at us. We kind of just go with the mind and let that make all the decisions for us.
Absolutely. And I feel like the more you grow, or like the bigger you get as business, there are like so many more voices that are supposed to be listened to, and you just don't listen to yourself anymore, and then you get overstimulated by like all those other external factors, and it's like, it would be really good just so interesting to see like how you actually tick and like why you tick a certain way. And
absolutely,
so it's really cool. So how does it work then with you? Like, just do you just do a reading once and that's basically cool, you set for life, or is it like a regular thing just to touch base to see like, cool, are you still aligned? Is there something you probably need to tweak, or how does it work?
Yeah. So with a reading, your design is never going to change. because for many people, it's a journey of coming back to home, back to who it is that you are truly designed to be, because for many people, they're kind of way off track. So your design is never going to change, but from, during different stages of your life, different aspects of your design might be more challenging. And there might be things that you need to kind of work through and work on. So for many of my clients, they start with a reading, they receive that reading, and they take some time to kind of go through it and start to really understand it, and then kind of start to kind of go, cool, okay, I'm understanding this, but I've got some questions. So then we might do like a one-on-one session, which is where you can we can really dive deep into certain aspects that are challenging in business or in life, and how they relate to your design, and where in your chart there might be these kind of signals. It's a very good tool for really getting to the heart of what can be really blocking you, what can be holding you back, where you can be really stuck in what we call those shadows, and that kind of that lower vibrational frequency energy of kind of scarcity and fear, and especially in business, feeling a bit stuck and blocked and not being able to move forward. That's the kiss of death, really. We've got to keep moving forward in our business, but if for whatever reason we're feeling really stuck, then that can be very challenging. So typically I work with clients and we'll do like a series of sessions, or I also have kind of group programs or kind of self-study as well. So if you want to learn more about how you can kind of understand your own design, plus understand the design of the people around you. If you've got kids, it's an absolute game changer for raising children. This is one of the first things that I did when I kind of discovered human design. Was obviously I did my chart, then I did my husband's chart, and then I did my 2 children. So, and it's a really beautiful tool for understanding the people around you, for communicating better, communicating with the team that you have, communicating with the clients that you have, kind of understanding how energy works and how your energy works, how you impact other people is an absolute game changer. So it really depends on how deep you want to kind of get into the system, because it is very multi-layered. There is, I could be studying, and I'm still studying, I'm still learning, lots of different aspects of the system, because it will teach you, how you're designed to kind of feed yourself, take in information, what environment you're designed to kind of really thrive in, and so many different aspects that are applicable to all areas of life. Most people kind of scratch the surface with either what I call a foundation reading or a business by design reading. So the foundation reading is more just your personal energetics. If you've never had a reading, that's a really good place to start. And then the business by design reading is all about understanding how your personal energetics operate in business, and what it's like to be a manifesting generator in business, for example, or a projector in business, and how you can work with your design instead of against your design to have more ease and flow, and ultimately abundance in a business that works with you instead of against you.
Awesome. I can see Claire likes it as well. So Claire helps me with a few things like in the business as well. It's great that she loves it as well. But really, really into it as well. And so I will also just show you a little bit of the purpose that you're having, or
yeah.
Okay.
So where the purpose really comes in is your human design is going to give you your strengths, your gifts, your talents, where it is you really are designed to kind of impact the world, and where those gifts and talents are. And there are kind of key placements in terms of the planetary placements in your chart, and this is where the astrological influence comes in. And we have what is called our incarnation cross, which is made up of the 4 most impactful gates in your chart. And essentially this is, in human design terms, it's kind of like your job description. But if you think about a job description, you're never really born into a job. You kind of develop into a job. So when, being in your purpose work is when you are really living your design. So you are following your strategy. So for me, that's to respond and inform, and you're following your authority. And for me, that is my authority is my gut, my sacral. When you're living in alignment with your design, that's when you kind of realize your purpose. But your human design chart is going to help you kind of get to where you need to be, and really understand what it is you're here to do and how you're going to kind of live out that purpose, and how you impact the people around you, how they see you, what kind of roles and archetypes you play as well. So that's your profile. So yeah, there's a lot of different elements that kind of come into purpose, obviously, and it's a very big thing for so many people, and so many of us are searching for purpose and searching for that purpose work. And I myself never thought that I thought it was a bit fictional. I was like, that's really nice. Everyone's, all these people who've found their purpose work, good on them. It's kind of like a bit fictional. It felt a bit cliche. It felt a bit like, oh, that only happens to people in the movies or people who are like super successful. But, actually, discovering human design was obviously where my purpose work lay, but it will definitely give you that insight into what you're here to do, how you're here to do it, and really moves you forward in the right direction and closer to doing that purpose work. So it's a combination of many different elements of your design, but primarily the purpose kind of sits within those kind of key gates in your chart.
Awesome. And especially because you're obviously same background, you're very left brain and like the analytical side of things, and those, it just, I feel so much energy and so good having that conversation with you, because I feel like there is so much alignment there. And yes. So how can people get in touch with you? So because I think like so many people are getting so much value, like what you shared, how can we get people more from it or from you?
Of course. So on my Instagram, I'm most active on Instagram, so cat.skreiner. And my website is catskreiner.com, and I've got a free Facebook community. I've got a free ebook that you can kind of get started with. There's also a free it's called Discovering Human Design. There's a few free options that people can kind of access on my website, and then kind of get into readings and group programs as well. So lots of different kind of options, but all on my Instagram bio and all on my website as well.
Okay, so like probably best just to get in touch with you and just do a little bit of research.
Or DM me with any questions saying, this is where I'm at, this is what I kind of feel like I need, what do you recommend? And we can take it from there.
Awesome. Perfect. Is there anything else, because obviously it's such a massive topic to cover, is there anything else you would like to share, or anything that you would like to give on to the community?
I think it's very easy to fall down the rabbit hole, and it's a wonderful rabbit hole to fall down. But like I said before, understanding the basics really is, even if you only ever kind of do the basics and understand, the foundational elements, so your energy type, your strategy, your authority, that is what's really going to change the game for you. So you don't need to go, fully into the rabbit hole, but it's a very fun place to be in. You will learn a lot about yourself. You'll learn a lot about the people around you, your nearest and dearest, your children, if you have them. But most importantly, it's about giving you the tools and I guess that roadmap and that blueprint for living the most aligned life for you, which is probably the greatest gift ever, I think.
That's a big
promise. Merry Christmas.
Good. Nice. Well, thank you so much for your time. It was so good, and I'm definitely gonna DM you later about getting that blueprint done for me as well.
Oh, I'd love to do it. And let's do like a follow-up session once we know your human design. I'd love to do that.
Yes, let's do that. Okay. Awesome.
So fun.
Thank you so much, Kat, for your time, and I wish you a really nice weekend, and I will DM you in a bit for more details.
Wonderful. Thanks, Eva. Thanks everyone for joining us. Bye.
Bye.
Bye.